Shit's too
On the go, play Wilds on the go.
You know what? It's actually soon. It's like what I think 2 weeks until they do the reveal.
Yeah, like
exactly.
the
full like
reveal.
Yeah.
It's gonna be very interesting actually. I can't wait.
Yeah, man.
What's up with that size?
I'm just a bit skeptical. That's all it is.
Are you skeptical? Let us know.
I like, bro.
It's just Nintendo, bro.
Elaborate on that.
Yeah, I guess I hear you on that.
Bro, I don't even need to elaborate because I know you feel similarly about it.
It depends what you're saying. That's how I want to know.
I just feel like I just pray that they don't like, for better words, like stalk on our what's that nostalgic factor of like loving Nintendo because of who they were, you know, and everything that they've given us in previous years, right? And they just give us something that isn't what we would hope for. In terms of like the power,
I knew you were gonna go power. That's what.
Like in terms of that's my main worry. I'm gonna be real. That's my main worry with the console.
It's gonna be a portable console. The power isn't gonna be what we want. I'm not sure what you're looking for.
Look, I'm not saying I want it to be the same sort of like hardware that PlayStation and Xbox have, because as you said, it's a portable console, so I can accept that. But I want it to be somewhere in a space where it's like, at least it's using more modern technology to give us something that we all know that they can give us.
Yeah, that's
right.
True.
And not underperform in that sort of what's the word I'm looking for? Like in that aspect of.
I mean, I got a couple of questions. So what is underperforming in your mind?
I mean, so I don't know a lot about tech in the sense of like the parts and how it
needs an RTX 5090.
Yeah, so things like that. Like obviously,
don't say yeah because you don't know.
No. What I mean,
AI
from what he's saying, like because I've heard you man talk about it, because obviously you recently
cost like thousands of pounds.
No, but hear me out. Just let me finish. I'm just
saying you said
because.
Yeah, so.
64 gigs of RAM.
You're gonna let me finish?
Yeah, go
because
for it.
you recently built your PC, so obviously I've heard you talk about these parts and things like that and how much they cost. So just based off of the price, I can understand how strong these parts are gonna be. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Right? Obviously, a monetary value can give you an understanding of how good the performance of this part is, what it should be doing. Do you know what I'm saying? Right, so I'm not expecting it to be some fucking top of the range like PC. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. But the question was, what are you expecting?
I just, bro. When we first saw the Switch, when they did the video release of what it's gonna look like and everything, right? My worry was, oh my god, it looks nearly the same as the Switch. Like the Switch 2 looks nearly the same thing as the Switch,
Pretty
right?
much, yeah.
And my worry is that they haven't really changed much from it in terms of the hardware and how it's gonna perform. I just want it to be better than that one. That's the first thing. And then secondly, like, I just want it to be able to run games and look and the performance that it gives better than what it was. That's all it is. That's all I want.
Okay.
Like, because for example, the OLED Switch, when it, obviously before it came out, like, we thought it was going to be like a Switch 1.5, like where at least it would improve something in terms of performance. But all they gave us was a fucking, a HD screen or whatever it was. I don't know.
OLED screen.
OLED too. Yeah, sorry. My bad. And that's all they gave. Like, that's all it was. And it was slightly bigger in terms of the screen size was a bit bigger. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's all I'm saying. Like, again, because I'm not into tech like you man are, right? But I just hope that it gives us more power. So it improves on the way the games are going to look, how they're going to run, they're going to be smoother, and all of those sort of aspects of the hardware.
I have about 3 things to say. If I remember the third one, get to it.
Okay.
But the first thing is definitely going to be an increase. I mean, internal, just because of the outside of how it looks, doesn't mean you know the internals. Like these other consoles,
100%.
They just change the externals to highlight it's a new console.
Yeah.
But this is the similar form factor. So the form factor is going to look the same, but the internals are going to be much stronger.
That's what I'm hoping for, but I can only take from face value what I've seen.
Yeah, and that's why this event will be able to show you particularly what's been changed.
Of course. Right. So that's why I am looking forward to seeing this and what they've got to say. But I think I've got a valid reason to be skeptical about it because of what they've done in previous years.
I think it's more of what they didn't do by coming out with a stronger Switch.
No, but that's the same point that I'm making. You just reworded it.
Yeah, I guess so.
So you saying that is you proving me right even more so. Because you just said it you've literally just dressed it up in a different way.
Nova versus Shibz.
That's all I'm saying. Like, you can't argue against me in that point by just rewording what I've just said.
All right, the way I said that, fair enough. The way I said it, fair enough. But this is unprecedented for Nintendo because they've never stuck with the same form factor in the past maybe 20 years.
Facts.
So this is a different territory.
Facts,
the Switch showed so well. That's why they're sticking with the same Switch. This is actually what people wanted. They didn't want them to reset like they did with the GameCube to the Wii to the Wii U, the Wii U to the Switch. They want it to be a similar form factor going forward, but make it better. And this is going to be better. How much better it is, we don't know yet.
Because, which I agree with you, because obviously when the Switch came out, prior to it, they always had a full-on console where you plug into the TV, and then they always had a handheld separate.
Yeah.
Right? Because we had when the Wii U came out, or the Wii even, sorry, we had the DS? Yeah, the DS.
Screen.
Exactly. So we had the DS and then the Wii. And then with the Wii U, then they just brought out another fucking bigger DS.
Yeah.
And then obviously when the Switch
3DS.
came out, they just basically combined the two together.
Yeah,
and then that's what it was, right? Like, you can agree with me on that, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
So now, obviously, as you said, this is the first time they're sticking to the same sort of concept.
factor,
Yeah. And they're just hopefully going to improve on that. But my worry, and this is not just based off of the console, but based off of the games that they've released as well, because they literally prey on their fucking fans and customers on that nostalgic factor. Because
What do you mean by that though?
Because
their games, Nintendo's games are always good.
I'm not denying that it's not.
You said they're preying on nostalgia, so that's incentivizing
brother. Listen to me.
Gotta sort of.
Yeah, it makes it sound like they're not good, but the nostalgia makes people want to buy their games.
Yeah, but then with those
That's
games,
how I feel about Mario, man.
exactly. That's what
kinda how
I
I feel
was
about
just gonna bring that up. And then look at fucking Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom, bro. What did they change?
Yeah, Tears of the Kingdom, I'll give you. I mean,
Because that's one of their biggest IPs.
I've said it. I don't like Tears of the Kingdom.
And no, I
said
know
it.
you have. I know you have. But I'm not talking about just from your perspective. I'm talking about from the whole, like, general, everyone looking at it. I'm not talking about just your perspective here, bro. I know you obviously will only be able to speak from your perspective, but you have to look at it in the sense that, bro, from Breath of the Wild to Tears of the Kingdom, I'm using this as an example, but there are others as well.
Well, do you have any other examples?
Pokemon.
Pokemon, that's been well documented that Pokemon is a tragedy.
But you wanted another example and I gave it, and now you're trying to you're trying to make an excuse.
That's true. But there's many games that Nintendo constantly actually make
Mario,
better.
like Mario
Odyssey was
Mario
a big
Kart,
game.
Mario Kart, bro. What have they changed? The fucking new Mario Kart that they bought us and gave us was literally the same thing from the previous title. How can you defend that?
I'm not defending that.
No, but it does sound like it though.
I'm saying that not all Nintendo games are just based on nostalgia. I'm not saying some of them aren't.
But you can't, brother, please, stop gassing.
I said, brother, you know.
Just stop gassing.
I said
wait,
all of them
wait,
are.
let me finish.
How can you
You're
say-
actually
No,
making
no,
me
how can you
rage
say
here.
let you finish?
You're
But every
making
time
me
I'm
rage
talking-
here, bro,
how come every
inside.
time I'm
And I'm trying to
talking-
hold it
See, I was
back.
being quiet, but now I'm being loud.
yeah.
So every time I was talking, you're interrupting.
I let
and
you
then when
finish.
You're interrupting,
I let you
you're
finish.
interrupting. No, you didn't.
I let you finish.
Okay,
Look,
I'm the ref.
listen,
Yeah?
Alright, go for it,
listen
go
to
for
me
it,
here,
go for it,
right?
go for it.
Look.
Okay, you get your few minutes.
Look,
Make a point,
just
and
let
then
me just
finish.
tell you.
Alright,
Let me
go
just
for it,
tell you
go
this,
for it,
right?
go for
Yeah,
it.
because. And you've literally made me lose my train of thought because you actually are making me rage because the way you're trying to defend them, because in previous episodes, you've criticized Nintendo as well. And now you're trying to defend them here. Yeah. What I'm trying to say is this, bro. Yeah. Is that Nintendo's past history, like their track record, yeah, has been, they've been so fucking lazy. They've been so lazy. And you've said this as well. And I get that you want, and I know you love Nintendo. We all do here because of the nostalgic factor of how they used to make us feel with the games they gave us and the consoles they brought out. The GameCube being one of the greatest consoles that they ever brought out. Like, when that game console came out, yeah, the way it competed against PlayStation and Xbox, yeah, was crazy. I love that they did that, right? But then after the GameCube, what have they done, right, to actually be innovative, where they've done something like, after the GameCube, the Wii. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's amazing what they did. Like, but it felt.
I feel like jumping in myself.
No. Hear me out. Hear me out.
Go on.
Hear me out.
Right now, I fully disagree with you.
In terms of the impact of what it did, not just with the console, but I'm talking about the games. I'm talking about all of it, not just the console.
Yeah, don't worry.
Right?
I'm about to. We can jump in.
Yo, jump in when you're ready.
My turn next,
Well, yeah,
so-
Yeah.
definitely.
What I'm trying to say is because of after the GameCube, they gave us the Wii. Amazing, because it was a massive hit because of the remote and how you play the games and everything. It was great. Right? But it was very short-lived because the novelty of it ran out fairly quickly.
Short-lived. The Wii.
In terms of console span, like when you get like PlayStation, yeah, like I'm only using PlayStation as an example. You can look at it from the Xbox, whatever, right? Yeah. A lot of the things that they try, even PlayStation especially, they even tried to follow the Wii with the remote thing. Do you remember when they had that remote, yeah, with the bulb at the end and everything? They tried it. It didn't work for them because the Wii literally locked that niche down for themselves. They did it so well. Amazing. I rate that. But what I'm trying to say is the consoles, I hope and I pray that it is amazing because I want it to be. I want another company to be there to compete with PlayStation now, because I don't think the Xbox sold very well compared to the PlayStation or whatever it may have been.
I feel like your minutes is coming to an end, fam.
But all I'm saying, back, because I lost my train of thought and I tried to get back on it, but I can't because I was raging.
You're breathing right now, but yeah.
All I'm saying is I just hope they don't let us down, because they let us down so much for such a long time. That's it.
All right, bro.
Leo?
A lot of stuff you said is kind of rubbish. I can't lie, because when it comes to innovation, Nintendo is literally the only one innovating throughout the Wii, the Wii U, the Switch. They literally leading it, like you said. No, wait, I'm talking to exactly. They literally lead everything. Why do you think they call it the PS1, PS2, PS3? It's because they don't innovate. They don't.
Fair.
They just upgrade graphics. That's literally what they do. But the fans love that, and that's good. That's what they want. That's fine. Now, when it comes to Nintendo, when it came to the GameCube was a flop, massive flop, biggest flop they've ever had. And that was the problem. That's why they switched to the Wii. The Wii was a long-lasting system. People are still playing the Wiis right now. Games are still coming out for the Wiis. I think they only stopped coming out, I think maybe like a year or two ago, because that's how big the Wii was. It's massive. When it comes to core gamers, yes, maybe graphical, there wasn't games for us. But there was loads of games on the Wii that were crazy outside of what you normally play. Xenoblade came out, that Sin and Punishment came out, Smash came out, Zelda came out. Yeah, late one in the life cycle. We had two Mario Galaxies. Oh, both of them 10 out of 10s. Literally 10 out of 10s across the board. Some of the highest rated games of all time. I think you're mixing up with the Wii U. The Wii U was short-lived. That was about 4.5 years.
Right.
That one was a flop. That one is a flop. No, it's flop.
I probably was mixing
probably a bit bigger of a flop than the GameCube, actually, to be honest.
Yeah.
Now, Nintendo. All right. You're saying to me, of course, I know Nintendo's faults. All I was saying is that Nintendo has a lot of good things that they've done, but there've been a lot of faults as well. There's been so many games. What's it called? Astral Chain, Bayonetta, Smash, like we talked about.
Banger.
The first Breath of the Wild was sick. It was revolutionary. It changed a lot of stuff. Xenoblade has been sick. There's been so many good games. Yes, there's been Mario Kart, which is a shame. They just redid that one from the Wii U. I wish they did a new one. They haven't. I think they're doing a new one now. My Odyssey was an amazing game at the start. There's been so many good games coming across that Nintendo have innovated with, but there are some games that they have stuck to what they know. But all companies do that. Every single company does that. It's not just Nintendo. It's literally the trend throughout companies. Nintendo's doing it the most. Nintendo's making the most of it because their IPs are so known. Sony even said they wish they followed Nintendo and making good IPs that are long-lasting, because they don't have good IPs that are long-lasting, because they didn't think about that. They didn't. They wish they could be Nintendo, but they're not. That doesn't mean I'm glazing. That's literally what they've said.
No, I'd never said you were glazing.
Don't interrupt me, but that's literally what they said.
I'm just agreeing with what you said.
I don't want to hear no green either. I don't want to hear that.
What the fuck?
You got raging, cuz.
Yeah, you got me raging. I was here quiet.
Good. I like hearing it. I want him to be raging.
I'm all about truth when it comes to this. Yeah, fair enough. Nintendo fucked up. They have 100%. They have. I'm not gonna lie. But they've done a lot of good stuff in the Switch times, even though I didn't like it. I wish they came out with a Switch 1.5, like you said. I wish they did. They didn't. COVID pulled back a lot of their plans because they were planning on doing it.
Yeah.
There wasn't enough chips going around. It would have been a catastrophe on them financially. And you saw how much of an issue it was for PlayStation 5 and Xbox at the start. So they made the right decision not doing that.
Yeah.
Now, if COVID didn't happen, it would have been a different history. And that would have been great. But it did happen, and it sucks for them, and it sucks for us that we didn't get something better. Now, is the Switch 2 going to be as powerful as we want? Ideally, probably not. But it's going to be, I hope it's going to be strong enough to compete when it comes to technology. Now, from what we've seen at least, it is going to be good. A lot of companies are excited. And a lot of companies are literally waiting to release a lot of stuff on Nintendo Switch 2, as they did on Nintendo Switch 1. A lot of companies came a bit later on. So I think Nintendo, what they need to do, I mean, Pokemon stuff, that Pokemon company needs to fix their shit.
Agreed with that. We've spoke about
Nintendo
that.
own a third of Pokemon Company. The other is Niantic, which is the other third, and the other third I think is Pokemon Company themselves. And
So what is Game Freak within that then? Are they
Game
like...
Freak's under the Pokemon Company umbrella.
Okay.
Yeah, and so Nintendo gets a say, but in the end, I don't know how. Of course, I don't know the business.
It's just a third in it.
Yeah, it's just a third. So
And it's not a majority, so yeah,
it's
of
not.
course,
But yeah, Pokemon, they need to fix that shit. Obviously, they have to. It's ridiculous.
It's probably the biggest, if one of
franchise.
the in the world.
It is,
Yeah,
Bigger
it
than
is
Disney.
the biggest. So
Yeah.
they need to fix it 100%. Now, when it comes to Breath of the Wild, it's a shame because Breath of the Wild was so revolutionary. Tears of the Kingdom isn't as much as we would like. But companies do that, and it's annoying that they do that. I wish they didn't. I mean, as you know, I didn't like Tears of the Kingdom that much. I didn't even finish it.
Yeah.
Because I think your biggest complaint about that was the combat.
Yeah, the combat's the same.
Yeah.
If it wasn't the same, I would have beat that game and I would have had a lot of fun.
And,
but it's the
and
same.
be honest, right? Yeah, it didn't look any different in
I
terms
wasn't
of
expecting it to look different. It's the same console.
yeah.
Yeah.
The Breath of the Wild was literally pushing the Switch to its maximum literally day
But
one.
what I mean is that like I didn't expect it to be looking different in the sense, because what I wanted to follow up after saying it not looking different is, if it's not going to look different, at least improve another aspect of the game. But they didn't do that, apart from adding in, and which in my opinion I think it made it worse, because I don't think this was in, if I remember correctly, in Breath of the Wild, is when you pick up a weapon, it doesn't break in Breath of the Wild. But in this
it
game,
does break. I don't know what game you're talking about.
Yeah.
then,
That was
okay.
the big problem with Breath of the Wild.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
People hoped that Tears of the Kingdom it wouldn't be.
Wouldn't break, but
That's
it's still,
I'm getting it mixed up around. Yeah. But they still carried that on. And the one thing that I think a lot, not just yourself, but I think a lot of people weren't happy about was the combat in Breath of the Wild.
I actually don't know how many people talked about that apart from me, to be honest.
Because either way, that was something that they could have improved on massively.
should have. Like,
and they should have,
I think,
but they didn't.
I think Nintendo fell under big open world syndrome. But these companies that bigger is better. So they open up the up place, they open up the bottom place.
Yeah.
But it's just more of the same, but on more levels.
On a different level, and that's
rather
it.
than expanding the experience itself, which is what I want. And
Which I think a lot of people would have loved.
And even before we came here, I was talking to JR about Monster Hunter. I'm fine with a concise experience as long as it's crafted specifically to me. That's personally what I like about games. It doesn't have to be grand. I don't need it to be massive. I just need it to be enjoyable all the time. When I'm playing it, I'm in there, I'm having fun. And it doesn't have to be, it can just be me and a boss on a plane. I'm fine. I'm cool. As long as there's variety and how many I can fight.
Yeah.
And it's not, I guess, easy. That's the main thing for me.
Yeah. Which we're going to be talking about later.
That's the main thing for me.
Yeah.
So